I'm Mark Boris and this is Straight Talk.
You've got a great voice.
Yeah,
I actually said, I think you're the Matthew McConaughey of Australia.
Someone told me my voice puts them to sleep. I've had a few people say that. No, that's not good.
You should do those nice meditation talks.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, could we just gather your thoughts for a moment?
That's nice.
Sounds a bit creepy.
They're different in terms of probably, like you said, yin and yang. This is so crazy.
We actually have
yin and yang tattoos.
Serious?
Legitimately.
What do young men tend to do wrong when it comes to dating?
Oh. They're all swing, no ding.
Yeah.
What's that mean? Lucy Jackson and Nikki Westcott.
Correct.
Welcome. How would I fuck it up so early? Welcome to Straight Talk, guys. Lucy Jackson and Nikki Westcott.
Correct.
Welcome. How would I fuck it up so early? Welcome to Straight Talk, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
I know, I heard you.
We feel very honoured to be
we're
here.
very
Oh, really?
Mm.
I'm very honoured.
You're a bit of a big dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I heard you guys actually didn't fly down to see me. You flew down to come to watch Dana White sort of rip into the media and have a really great time at the UFC. I heard you guys are partying at the UFC big time. Is it true?
It's basically true. We're kind of just here to really support Dana White.
No, I don't watch the UFC at all,
We
to
were
be
just
honest.
chatting about it off air before and we're like, what actually happened with the Australian media?
Yeah, well, they went off. They went off. And,
went off.
And they're going to go off about this too, don't worry, because it's going to be a big deal. And nah, totally
Something
is.
tells me not so much.
Yeah.
Totally. So you guys are Gold Coast based?
We are, yeah.
Yeah. Have you always, you both from, you born up there?
No, we
No.
were both born in we're both from North Queensland.
North Queenslanders.
Yeah.
So I'm from near Cairns.
And I grew up at Mount Isa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I used to have a branch, a Yellow Brick Road branch of Mount Isa. And I had one in Cairns as well. And I remember I'd never been to Mount Isa and I flew out to Mount Isa. I thought I better go see the branch owner out there. And I flew to Mount Isa and like I got the shock of my life. Like, there's a town in the middle that you're flying along.
yeah.
It's all like full desert looking shit.
Full
like,
desert. It's meant to be the biggest city in the world. And I'm like, I don't know
What?
how you've.
Since
That's what it is
when?
in like the world, like Guinness Book of Records because of like the square meterage of what it is.
in terms of a tense number of people who live in that small area.
No, it's something to do with like the land size. I don't know how they got away with it, but obviously being from Mount Isa, that's something you'd
That
absolutely
sounds like
scream
a-
from the rooftops.
That's
Well, you know
a
what?
technicality for sure.
I stayed at the local pub there. Like,
Isa?
maybe it's a confused. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I stayed upstairs, okay? So like, I remember I did all my work and I took the guys for dinner and I think I ran into Bob Catter's son.
Oh, yeah.
That's iconic.
I had dinner with him, actually. I had dinner with him.
Unbelievable.
And this was before he was a politician and, or maybe he just started up. This was a few years ago. Anyway, I go to bed about 9:30 or something like that. I had a couple of beers, go to bed. And I heard like noise downstairs, like full noise. Like I thought, what the fuck? I put my gear back on, walk downstairs, have a look, and the biggest brawl you've ever
no
seen
doubt.
in your life. And I'm standing there at the top step, going, what the fuck? And they were just ripping into it. It was full on. It was spilled out onto the street and everything.
It's actually crazy.
It's
like
quite
I've
normal.
seen some wild situations growing up there, obviously, and I don't think you realise, how outback it is until you've lived
It's
in
really
a
the Wild, Wild
metropolitan
West.
area
It's totally.
for years. And because, I was born and bred there. So for me, I was just like, oh, yeah, if there's a scrap at lunchtime, the teachers just kind of let them rip and just contain the students because you don't get involved. It was just like
I
chaos.
thought how good. I mean, I love it. Like it's old school,
Dana should be out there.
Yeah, it was so good. It was
How
good. But it was like they spilled out on the street and everything. It was like but nothing bad was happening. It wasn't like guys pulling knives or whatever. It was just punch on, but it was
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool. So and
old-fashioned
another
bang.
thing I found was really interesting about there too was that on a per capita basis or something like that there's more people who own jet skis and Hiluxes in Mount Isa than anywhere other part of Australia. But there's no where do you ride a jet ski out there? You live
Lake
in the desert.
Mundara
Oh,
or
really?
Lake Julius. It gets dry sometimes, but no, Lake Mundara always had a bit of water in it to some extent.
Yeah, like because obviously they make big money working in the mines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They get paid well, and they go, "Oh, what am I going to buy? I'll go buy a jet ski." Or there's jet ski distributors up there, like the Toyota dealership over there kills it.
Oh,
like,
Toyota is just like going off.
These small towns are deceiving because I grew up in Tully, which is like a small town near Cairns, and apparently this statistic came from my mum, which she's been known to fudge numbers.
Might need to fact check that one.
Yeah, but apparently there's more millionaires per capita in Tully than there is in any other town in Australia.
Wow.
But you wouldn't know it when you walk through town. Like
what's Tully?
banana farming, banana and cane farming. Yeah. So same thing. Lots of jet skis, lots of Hiluxes.
Probably more jet skis there, I'd say.
Yeah.
So Tully's how far out of Cairns?
2 hours south.
So you're not really from Cairns, sort of.
No, I'm from a really small town called Mission Beach.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Mission Beach.
Yeah,
maybe can you tell me something about it because I don't know what I heard about it. But what is a Mission Beach? Is it an actual beach area?
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's a really beautiful like little part of the coast up there. Dunk Island is just across, so you've got island views.
Tell him the story about when the cassowary went into your
cassowary,
house.
I've seen them up there.
Cassowaries.
It's like morning cassowary signs everywhere.
These are things that are hard.
Yeah,
things
exactly,
on the top
like
of
the
head.
blue necks.
Yeah. So cassowaries are everywhere. Like one time, one was like literally like strolling into my house, and my little tiny dog ran out. And because we have really slippery tiles, and we were always in and out of the pool, so there was water all over the veranda, and the cassowary like fully slipped over as my dog tried to chase it out.
Like dangerous
literally.
animal.
But no, it's just similar to Mount Isa, but just on the coast, I guess.
See, that's interesting. The two of you, so now you're on the Gold Coast, and you're in business together, which we'll talk about in a second. But you sort of come from similar backgrounds, sort of pretty good old school Aussie backgrounds, like no plum in your mouth sort of thing.
That's
farming, mining, kind of. Yeah. Well,
Small
we met
town.
in Townsville.
Oh wow!
Going to uni
That's
in
when we
Townsville.
moved to the Big
Are you
Smoke.
both in uni? Are you about the same age? Like
We were a year apart,
Year
so we
apart.
studied together at uni.
what did you guys study?
Marketing.
Marketing. But
Yeah.
so you what did you do? A Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Commerce or Bachelor of Economics or something like that?
It was a Bachelor of Business.
Bachelor of Business,
And then I had a
Majoring in
major in marketing. But
Yeah.
then I wasn't ready to kind of join the real world. So we always laugh about it. I dabbled in a postgrad arts, whatever that meant.
Well, we were working together at Red Bull at the time, and the conditions of being in like the Red Bull marketing team was that you had to be at uni. And when Nikki
really?
was like coming to the end, I was like, you've got to do another like masters or something so that we don't have to stop
I
working
just wasn't
together.
ready to, yeah.
So that's interesting. So Red Bull goes to the universities like the university you both are at,
Yep.
and says, "Look, we're going to recruit some marketing people out of this organization, out of the university as an organization, someone who's actually learning about marketing."
Kind of.
Like, to give you like an opportunity to kind of. It was amazing working at Red Bull because we were studying marketing, and like you're obviously so green, but your ideas are just crazy, and they would just give you like a platform. Like we'd go down for like consumer colleges, we'd call them, like 4 times a year, and basically they'd just be like, go to all of us like uni kids and go, give us your craziest ideas, no budget, go. And then
what would the crazy idea be about? So they've got to give you context. So obviously about promoting Red Bull or the cars.
Yeah, or it'd be like, we want to target, this demographic at this time, like around this event, what would you do? And then, some of the ideas would be like, you could get a chopper and rent a rooftop and kidnap people and take them to like, it was just wild.
There were like no boundaries of what like we could or couldn't do. And it was always really cool because you'd start off with the ideas like crazy out here. But then in a year's time, we'd be doing something not far off
Built
it.
off that.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you girls did in your career, your own business, the business together, that you actually borrowed from those periods when you suggested things to Red Bull?
Well, not we have a fashion label, so like quite a different product to a can of Red Bull, but definitely we learnt the kind of foundations of marketing from there, and I think it kind of instilled this, I guess, drive in us that kind of anything is possible if you really want to. So
I think one thing we really took from Red Bull was like, with Red Bull, they really invest in people early on. Like they'll see someone with talent and, grow that person. And, that person might end up being Mick Fanning, for example. So I feel like with us, we've always kind of like wanted friends of the brand that even though they might not be like the biggest, hottest person in the world right then, if you kind of like stay with them on the journey, they're usually pretty loyal.
That's in your journey. So
on like our
your
brand journey.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So both of
we've
you have
taken
an
that.
individual brand. So you were influencers
Together,
We did that
though.
together.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so that
We
was your
refused to go
original-
alone.
I'm so glad we do it together. It would be so boring to do it on your own.
But before all your podcasts and your fashion label and your booze label, like
We work separately.
you did work separately.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Was
we
that-
worked at Red Bull, then we
Yep.
graduated uni and we both had individual, like Nikki
Real
worked in
jobs.
advertising, I worked in fashion.
Because that's where I want to go. So where did
Hmm.
you go after uni and after the Red Bull experience? Let's start with Nikki.
So I went down to Brisbane, got my first ever, real job. I think I was on $35,000 a year. Big biggies. And
different now.
working in advertising, and obviously being a part of that, it was like before digital advertising was as big as it was.
So the old school advertising,
Old
production
school
budget.
outdoor
Billboards.
billboards, like those little mobile billboard things,
Yeah.
promo teams, like
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. So I
Like
sort of,
every weekend, Nikki would be stressing because she'd
Oh.
have to have the phones because all the girls out on the little
because
scooters
I'd
and
manage
stuff
like a
with the
team of,
billboards.
60 people out doing, 10 different campaigns at a time. It was actually the worst, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Chaos.
That character building. And so I did that for years. And then,
But you two keeping in contact with each other?
we lived together.
We lived together. Well,
But
actually,
you
no,
went to Brisbane too then?
I actually moved to Sydney. Well, I moved to Brisbane.
Brisbane, then we lived together for 6 months there. And then she moved to Sydney.
Then I got offered a job in Sydney, but we were still best friends. We still spoke every day.
But were you running your own sort of individual sort of, when Instagram came out, did you start running your own individual stuff or did you only
we
do it together?
made a joint one together.
From the
Like we
beginning?
always had separate
Yeah,
pages.
I mean, we've always had a personal Instagram to like talk to your mum and stuff, but
yeah, that's private probably.
yeah, but
we
like,
didn't really look at those as like a business opportunity. Whereas when we started our joint one together, we did it ahead of a music festival because we were kind of like, oh, you can get a few free clothes, whatnot. So we kind of went into that with the intentional mind of this could become something.
yeah.
But you actually use the joint Instagram account to try and manipulate your way into a festival.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
No.
We were still buying our tickets. We used to always go to festivals.
Yeah, we were big festival girls, but I was working down here for a fashion label at the time, and it was when Instagram was just kind of starting. And so I was like sending out essentially clothes to girls similar to Nikki and I at the time. And I was like, why don't we do this and get free clothes? And so that's what we did.
Okay. So you're sending stuff out from the fashion label saying, would you like to wear this?
Pretty
Yeah.
much,
Would
yeah.
you be better to wear this?
It was in the kind of more so time of like old school bloggers and like that real old school PR. Like we would be sending out like boxes of clothes to Dolly magazine and Cosmo, and they'd be putting them in the
Wow.
like editorial shoots and stuff. It was just like a different time in marketing back then. But then Instagram kind of started growing, and I was like, why don't we get free clothes too and just try it? And so that's kind of exactly what we did, and that's kind of how it started.
So it wasn't some idea that, let's get into business and like we're going to ride this wave. It was more like, why don't we just have a crack at this ourselves? Why am I giving shit away to other people when we can
Yeah.
get a bit of this stuff ourselves?
And do it together too. Because
Yeah.
we were like, oh, it's so much more fun together. And we weren't living at the same place either. Which was
So you were in
kind of-
Brisbane at this stage and,
Yeah.
and you were in
Sydney,
Sydney at this
yeah.
stage. So because what is this thing that you always wanted to be together? Like what's this? Maybe you can explain the
Yeah, I
friendship
don't
a bit.
I don't actually know either. It's just funner together. Like and we've, now that our career together has kind of spanned like 10 years, we always look at other people in the industry that do this individually. And even now, as like, in our mid-30s, we're like, wow, we're still so glad we do it together because it's more fun. It feels less personal.
Takes
When
the
you're
edge
having a
off.
hard day, you've got someone to share the load with. When you're having a good day, you've got someone to celebrate with.
when you're going away for events and stuff, you're going together.
Yeah.
It's like just more fun.
And if someone's holding a convention or some sort of thing like that, you don't have to turn up your own.
Exactly.
Because you walk in a room, because that's funny. I had to go to a thing the other night, and in the financial services industry, and I'm sort of well known, but like in that game. But I walked in. It's the first time being to one for years. I just had to go because I was sort of not pressured, but I was expected to be there. And there was a release report, and I walked in the room, and I thought, my God, they all know me. Well, a lot of people here know me, but I don't know anyone. And that shitty feeling you got to
very humbling.
I've got to walk up and say, "Oh, hi, how you going?" and walk in
Yeah.
because they're all little groups everywhere. And you think, which group am I going to walk into and say hello to? I still get a bit of like anxiety over that.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
fully.
so if you're together,
Yeah.
you're just rocking together, and you make your own little group.
Big
Exactly.
time.
And you say,
always
"You wanna
feel
join us?"
comfortable.
It's just so much funner. Like I literally get to go and have all of these opportunities with my best friend. It's just way better in my opinion. No offense, Mark. I know you're doing it on your own, but it's just like,
Someone's got to do it.
it's a much funner journey. And I think it's also one of those things as well. like I would way rather have us been doing it together than, you know, like I guess trying to individually like do things that were similar. You know what I mean? Like imagine if we were like competing for jobs and stuff, how awkward that would be when we could just do it together.
But I'm trying to work out how you keep it together, like as friends. Like business is one thing, and I know how I'm in business. I don't know if I could be in business with a friend because I get a bit sort of not mean, but I can be a bit direct.
I'm very direct.
So you got to have a bit of yin and yang or whatever they like to call it. Like who's I don't know which one is which, but you're the direct one.
Yes.
What makes you think that?
Well, I'll tell you what makes me
crazy.
think, because when you were talking right at the very beginning, you were sitting there just I want
like
to
so
speak.
excited.
Her eyes are opening up like this, and I'm thinking, like, this, I've got to let her in. No.
No, seriously though, that's it.
Always go to her with the first question.
I'm also
I'm
very
patient.
talkative. But I'll shut up now and you can just talk.
Okay, we'll just keep going.
Yeah, you
but
can.
now, how do you manage that process though? Because you know, sometimes you wake up in the morning, you feel crap. Either one of you or both of you, for that matter, you might say, "I just don't feel like doing this today." With my bestie.
We've heaps of days like that.
Yeah, you do.
Oh,
Yeah, we have. Like,
Yeah.
for sure.
But what do you do? Just communicate to each other? How do you work it? Like,
Oh, I know if she's got a tummy ache. I know if she's.
you just know from.
well,
we
everyone
tell
does
each other.
because I tell everyone everything. I don't have any secrets.
So
but
is it about that though? It's about communicating and being like super honest, no matter what.
I think as well, like we met as friends but started working together straight away for Red Bull. So we always knew we had a good working dynamic.
And probably work ethic as well. You
Yeah.
know, like there's not one that's
She's not working harder than me, and I'm not working harder than her. sort of
No,
thing.
No.
we're both kind of very much have that same kind of ethic behind us, which is very lucky.
And what about other ethics, like outside work ethics, like I don't want to hate. Not moral ethics, but you know, like just
like
general
values and
ethics, like
stuff.
what you think is cool, what you think is acceptable, what you think is not acceptable.
Well, like you said at the beginning, Mark, we kind of grew up in a very similar way.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Like we're both from North Queensland. We both come from like average families.
Humble.
Like we weren't loaded, but we weren't, you know, like scraping together to make ends meet kind of thing. I think we had a very similar like if my mum and Nikki's mum were in the same room, they've got a similar value system.
Even like me with her family, we're all very close. She's really close with my family. Like my nieces and nephews call her auntie. Like it's just kind of like we just sort of
like
grew
sisters.
together.
Yeah.
And so, have you got brothers and sisters?
I have two sisters. She has two brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do they sort of say, do they make fun of you and sort of say, oh, well, you've got your other sister here?
Yeah, like I'm like
Yeah.
literally part of Nikki's family. Like she got married recently and I was like at the house. I stayed with them when
Yeah.
Nikki wasn't even there. I just stayed with Nikki's family.
Of course.
And like my brothers think of Nikki as a sister for sure.
Yeah, and you got married recently.
I did, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And yourself, Lucy?
I'm not married. I'm single.
Single.
Very single. But it's kind of good.
Putting it out there.
What's
no,
that?
You're putting it out there because we got a lot of
Boys.
we got a
Slide
lot
into
of
the
young men
DMs.
listening to this show.
Take that girl on a date.
No, don't.
You won't regret it.
Don't. But yeah, no, it is a good. We are just similar. We're different, but we're similar.
We're different in terms of probably, like you said, yin and yang. This is so cringe. We
actually
have yin and yang tattoos.
Serious?
Legitimately.
Where?
Here. We got them.
We got them after a house
God.
cooking in
So-
Amsterdam, to be
Now,
honest.
by the way, I have never seen anything, right? I don't know. I just made that up, yin and yang. But anyway, I don't even know what it stands for.
Yeah.
Good
It's
times.
just like we've got different personalities, but we have the same core values and work ethic and like I guess creative vision. We have like very similar ideas in that space. Like it just kind of works. We've never really had any huge like between the two of us, we've never had it. There's never been a time where I've been like, oh, Nikki's vision for this is so off or vice
Yeah.
versa. Like it's
Like
kind
business.
of pretty similar.
You ever have massive blues? Like you never had a real big blue?
We've had some
We've had
fights,
blues.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's,
I feel like if we hadn't had a blue in this long, it'd be like,
are we
two.
robots?
But she's a man Aussie girl. Look
psychopath.
out.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
They put it out on the
I
street.
don't know.
you know?
I reckon I'd be squashed.
No, but if
She's strong, doll.
If anyone's going to fight anyone, I'd fight someone to protect you.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
Could she fight?
Oh, I reckon she'd absolutely. She could be in the UFC.
An MMA fighter or something.
No, but you're fit. Like, this is how I think about it. When we're at festivals or like concerts or whatever, she chucks me on her shoulders and we're not just there like watching
serious?
for a view. She's there like got me up and down. And I'm
No
like,
drama.
And I have zero core strength. It's flopping all over the place. So
I
she's
almost
strong.
got into a fight at a festival once. Remember with that chick when she
Yeah,
stole my
dude.
friend's hat?
I was so
Anyway.
scared.
I'm scared. she's like, I'm getting that feeling. Like,
Beep, watch out. No,
I did.
it's good. We have a good
Yeah.
did you
set
train
up.
together?
we
Train
have
together.
Train, like as an exercise?
Not anymore, just because we don't live in like the same suburbs. But yeah, we have before. For sure.
But you both live in the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
But you live in, well, now you're married, you're obviously living with your husband.
Well, yeah,
We did live together.
We were living together for a while
No.
before that.
we lived together for almost 10 years, Nikki and I.
Do you feel like third wheel?
I didn't live with Nikki's partner now.
Okay.
This was before him. But no, we have lived together as well as worked together, as well as been best
Were
friends.
you like on the bridal party and all that sort of stuff?
yeah,
Of course, maid of honour doll.
Was she?
Yeah.
What did she say in the speech? Did she give you up? Like,
Oh, yeah.
Funny
actually-
story.
Was it
she
like, was it
actually-
dirty? Like, was it?
She cooked it.
Oh, serious?
she
What, she
got
ran
cooked
out
on
like she
one
got
word.
adrenaline.
Hey,
Well,
she
did
tried-
you lose it? Did you?
Oh, and I had Camilla
Which
yelling
was
in my
so-
ear, box breathe. I was like, this is my...
box breathe?
I'm
What for?
stimming so hard right now.
Were you nervous? Were
she
you?
was in
I
it.
was really nervous.
Why?
She was also having a good time. So
Champagne or vodka?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were up at 6 a.m. on the first mimosas, you know.
Drinking
like,
from the yeah.
Yeah.
that our wedding planner gave us, mind you. I was
Yeah.
like, Tash, aren't you meant to keep me on the straight? No. I had a very, like Claire was our manager was at the wedding. I had a very fun, loving, everyone was in a,
Loose wedding.
I had a pretty loose wedding, but
That's
in a
cool.
good way.
Yeah.
And she got up to do her speech and she actually had made like a little rhyme to start it, which was quite thoughtful. But do you...
A ditty.
It's like-
a little ditty, did you? A Aussie ditty.
It's like when we read out ads for the podcast, for example, she'll be like, up. Like she just cannot get it
I have
out.
ADHD.
And this started happening.
Dyslexia, I feel like, is probably on the cards as well.
And this started happening and I'm there like, go loose, you can do it. And she's like, "Bleh," like he literally could not get past this one
Serious?
word. But everyone just had a
You
laugh.
froze?
Yeah, but it didn't feel like that.
It was a tongue twister.
It didn't feel that bad because
It was very casual.
it was everyone's speeches were pretty loose and fun. You know, like it's not like it didn't feel like your typical wedding where the speeches are really stiff.
But I guess it's on video though.
I haven't got it back
I
yet,
got
but it
sent
would
it
be.
after, but I can't
just-
watch.
Did you?
I
By
can't watch.
who?
Ned
I
filmed
want to
it and
watch
I
it.
This
can't
could be a
watch.
whole episode. This could be a whole episode of your show, of your podcast. Yeah.
I know,
Literally.
because everyone's like, how was, Lucy's speech? And I was like, good.
Well,
Different. Not what you'd expect. But it was just funny,
Well,
You know when you do things and you can't watch it back? Like we
Yeah.
did this
Ooh.
live stream once that got really out of hand and I just cannot bring myself to watch it back. That's what I feel about your wedding speech.
because I can't watch myself back.
Yeah.
I like it's well. Is that what I sound like? Do I sound like that? Is that my
Really, you've
voice?
got a great voice.
Yeah,
No,
you've
I've
got
it freaks
I
me out.
actually said, I think you're the Matthew McConaughey of Australia.
Someone told me my voice puts them to sleep. I've had a few people say,
Yes.
no,
You
that's
could
not
do
good. You're
bedtime
supposed to
stories.
listen all the way through because you want Spotify to say, listened for the whole 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to say fell asleep after 10 minutes.
You should do those nice meditation talks. I feel like
No,
box
ladies and
breathe,
gentlemen,
maybe.
Yeah.
You just gather your thoughts for a moment.
that's nice.
Sounds
Deep
a bit
breaths.
creepy.
That's nice.
Yeah. So let's talk about your businesses. So let's talk about your first. I do want to talk about who is Jackson West. So that's a booze brand.
Yeah, it's a
So
wine.
what are we talking about? It's an actual wine.
Yeah.
Like your own
Red and
wine
rosé.
label.
Yeah.
So where do you get your wine? Like I don't know. Like there's not a lot of wine up in where you guys come from. Well,
No.
Gold Coast maybe, but not up north in Queensland.
No, we get it all produced in Melbourne, bottled in
Yeah,
Melbourne.
Victoria.
Yeah,
So
Victoria.
where are the grapes coming from?
Down near like Yarra Valley.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what type of wine are we talking? Red, white, Pinots?
It's a red. It's like a red blend. So it's a blend of Shiraz and
I don't honestly
even know what the other one
to be
is.
honest.
Well, because the reason I asked this question is
We actually got asked this the other day and I was like, I don't know, but it tastes delicious.
basically we were like, our target market aren't wine connoisseurs, nor do they probably love a red like we do. We need to give them like an entry level red. Get
so
them
how much
hooked
are we
on
talking about? 20 odd bucks or something for a bottle.
Yeah, roughly, yeah. Because you buy it in a pack of 3.
Yeah, we're just online.
So because this is the in a business sense, this is your very typical. I've got an audience. You guys got an audience. We're going to have a product because it's hard to commercialize your podcast. I mean, you can get some ads and stuff like that, but actually hard to really commercialize it, get to everybody. You got to find the product that suits your audience. So what sort of research do you guys do? How do you work out, our audience would like to get a bottle of red wine for $25 a bottle or a pack of 3?
We kind of just model it off literally like ourselves when we were our audience's age. Like we were always just think about kind of what we were doing when we were 25, what we were wearing. Because our biggest brand, I guess, that we own is our clothing label. That would be our biggest one. But yeah, we kind of just we really just use ourselves as we are our own customer.
Because Jagger and Stone came first. That was our first business. And then the podcast. And
so Jagger and Stone's the clothing, the clothing label. I'll come back to that in a sec. So Jagger and Stone came first, so that's your first. So you had a product before you had your podcast audience.
Yeah,
that's mad. So
that's
you
mad.
You must have had an audience then.
Yeah, so we started initially doing Instagram together.
So what was your audience like in terms of
festivals, partiers?
Like we would go to festivals and wear these crazy matching outfits. That was like kind of our thing.
Like in color or like
Camilla.
Oh yeah.
All different brands, but like I guess we were kind of more known for those like crazy prints and stuff. And that's kind of how we initially grew our audience. And then we started Jagger and Stone when we kind of decided to leave our jobs to commit full time to, I guess, pursuing our own thing together. And then about a year later, the podcast started, and then it's just kind of gone from there.
So I'm actually pretty intrigued by this, that process. It's sort of in reverse to the sort of process most other people do. They go out and do a podcast, they create an audience, and they start building a product, and they sell the product to the audience. Whereas you had a product, then you build a podcast. But if I just go back, let's just move the wine thing aside for a second. But I do want to talk about wine because I have a whiskey business, and I'm always interested in why people do booze. I did it
because we like to drink.
Yeah, I did it for no reason other than my dad loved whiskey, and I don't know if that's really a very good business reason. It's done all right. It's a good product.
Yeah.
I don't make any fucking money out of it though. Like made nothing. Like by the time the government takes their excise duty and all that other shit, get it distributed. You got to put in a nice box, send it off. You make about $10 a bottle.
Yeah.
And I'm selling for $200. I'm making maybe it might be a bit more than that, but I make about $10 a bottle. It's really not worth it.
Yeah.
$200 for the whiskey. Sounds like a good drop.
That's a premium.
Well, Australia's best single malt 2 years in a row.
Oh,
look at that, straight down the barrel with that one.
Straight down the barrel.
Might have to try it on the
Yes.
But it's still like it's hard to make money out of these things, and I'm sort of curious as to how you go about it. Like why did you decide to have a product?
To be
It's
honest,
a funny story.
Yeah,
we may as well just tell it.
Our wine's in a bit of like a transition period at the moment. We just kind of bought out our business partners.
Oh, you see, because you got to go in with someone who can do it.
Yes.
It's
Well,
not
that
like you're
was
going to be
kind
there
of-
jumping on the grapes and picking grapes and stuff like that.
No, although we would.
Yeah, although we actually have
That'd
done
be
that
good.
once before.
I tell you what, that would be good image, like a good content for you actually,
I
jumping up
know,
and down the
fun.
grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'd always spoken about it in the background, and then because we were like, it's the product that makes the most sense for us. We drink wine, target market drink wine, like
We drink a lot of wine.
Like on the show,
Or just in general.
just in general.
Yeah.
Not really
that's
on the
cool.
show. Actually, we did recently. When we drink on the show, it's bloody hilarious.
Yeah.
We should do it more, to be honest.
Should have your own bottle of wine.
Well,
Yeah.
we used to, when we first started the podcast, we used to drink when we recorded a lot, like all the time. And then, it just kind of got a little bit rogue, and I was like, I just can't also be drinking this much
I think
at
we
work.
also didn't really realise how many people would start listening. So we were like, right, let's clean it up a bit, shall we?
Because there's that group of girls, which is Jane Lou and Jen George, who own that.
Oh, like-minded bitches drinking wine.
Yeah. They've got a huge audience, a massive audience,
Yeah.
and they hold functions and they do drink wine. Like it's a wine and cheese type of thing, and they get live and they also get like in person, and they also get like people streaming in, and that's pretty cool. I've spoken at a few of those events, and because Jen George is. I know Jane through various other places, but Jen George is a good friend of one of my sons. They went to uni together or something like that. And it's a great little business. They kill it. They kill
Yeah.
it.
It is really cool. I'm actually in their Facebook group and it goes off. Yeah. But yeah, what was the question with the wine?
Well, we wanted to start it, and then we found the right people to start it with, and
Producers. Someone to supply the wine.
Sales. They already have like another alcohol brand, so it was kind of just like felt very fitting.
Yeah.
But then blessings for them, they actually ended up selling their business and got out of the game.
So you're dealing with someone else.
Well, so then we just kind of like decided to buy them out. So at the moment with the wine, it is in like a bit of a transition phase.
So the two of you, you've sort of become business, probably not forced, but just through circumstances, you become business people. Like you're no longer influencers doing marketing and blah blah blah, like trying to work out what dress to wear to a festival stuff. You're now in the guts of business, like buying people out, getting documents.
Oh yeah,
briefing lawyers, negotiating.
Got a couple of trusts hanging around.
Yeah, a few
company
bank
structures, like corporate structures. Like what's the best structure to have? Should I have a family trust or a partnership between the two of you, or is it a company or dividends and blah blah blah? How's that shit feel?
Overwhelming.
Yeah, but very much a learning all the time. Like we have a lot of. Like we've learnt a lot over the years, but honestly, there's always still so much more to learn. But I guess one thing, we have had the same accountants since word go, which is helpful because we can kind of like rely on them for business advice and stuff. But yeah.
That just reminds me.
Pay your tax bill, bro.
I forgot to sign something really important the other day. Sorry. That just reminded me literally then.
But that's a big transition. Like, and I'm not trying to pigeonhole you, but like two girls who did a degree in marketing and good creators, very good in the creative game, all of a sudden you start getting overtaken by the amount of administration you got to do when you're in business.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of fucking administration. Like,
I'll tell a good story about what the first time I realized we were kind of like getting a bit businessy is when we were trying to buy one of our warehouses. So we actually just sold one, but it was one that we just sold. So we were trying to buy a third. So basically we bought the warehouses that Jagger and Stone are now in.
Like our office space. Yeah.
And then the next one next door came up for sale. And so we always said we want to be, second rite of passage, whatever, to get in for the sale. Anyway, so sure enough, it comes to us and we were kind of like going back and forth about it. And I said, this rate, like this is a price, blah, blah, blah. Yep, no worries. So we're in the background setting up all our trusts and I spoke to the real estate and I said, listen, I'm away. Can this wait till Monday? And he goes, I'll check with the seller. Yep, you girls are good for Monday. Anyway, so comes Monday midday. Hey, girls, unfortunately, you've taken too long. We're taking it to market, 50 grand more starting price. Good luck. And then we just go, sorry. And I was like, oh, my God, rattled. And I went back through my messages with him and I said.
Because we were like, you told him that we needed until Monday.
Then you start second guessing things. And I was like, oh, my God, I need to look. And I looked and sure enough, he'd agreed to saying Monday. And I just went, I don't know. And then he calls me, hey, Nikki, yeah, look, things have changed, blah, blah, blah. Lucy just grabs the phone. Hey, Giles, Lucy here. I don't know how the fuck you do business, but this isn't it, mate. And just served it to him.
He's like a 6-year-old real estate agent that's been in the game for so long. And I was just like, I don't know how you run your business, Giles, but this isn't it. You said, we've got it in writing that you said we had till Monday. Take the money and call it a day. And he was like, fuck.
And so he goes, I'm going to have to talk to the sellers. She goes, yeah, well, call me back. And he calls back. He goes, oh, well, girls, don't know how, but you've done it. They've agreed to the price, all these ridiculous terms, which we were like, game on. And he goes, his final thing was, well, I don't know you that well, but I think you'll go far in business.
He was an idiot anyway. Sorry, Giles, if you're listening.
But the process of that process of becoming like tough enough to negotiate with real estate agents aren't easy to negotiate with, especially older ones that experience. They've done about 1 million deals.
Yeah,
they've seen every response.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I think they were just trying to hurry
Obviously,
us up,
the market
maybe they're trying to hustle
booming.
you and putting 50 up too, like another 50.
Well, that's it. The market started booming, so fair enough. They probably could have got more for it, but I was like, well, this shit's in writing. Like this is our warehouse.
Yeah, because as soon as you said it, as soon as you were mentioning that process, I thought to myself, if I was a real estate agent, I would have said to my client, the vendor, listen, these women, they definitely want to buy this place.
Yeah.
So why don't we just tell them that you can have it for another 50?
Yeah. That's kind of what they would, I guess, low-key doing.
Yeah, but then do you feel really comfortable that Lucy is the sort of person who'll jump all over?
Oh yeah, because
So could you happily hand the phone to her?
No, so I was talking to him because I do a lot of the I'm on email admin girl.
I don't like
She comes in. She comes in when we need the big bad wolf to blow. And so it's kind of.
To be honest, I never had any intention of actually getting that angry, but I was like genuinely pissed off. I was like, that's so not play on to like give people a deadline and then pull it away from them. I was like.
And, you know, I was having that conversation and I was like, well, Giles, I don't really understand. Like, I'm looking at the messages now. You said it would be fine.
Sounds like
we've
a butler, Giles.
We've been working.
Bloody hell, Giles.
We've been working tirelessly in the background to set up all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And then Lucy just had enough. She goes, Giles, it's Lucy.
So you've got 2 warehouses now.
We just sold one.
We just sold one.
Yeah,
but we still have 2, technically.
Yeah.
2 lots.
But you haven't ever settled, is what you're saying.
No, we have settled on that one. So basically there was 3 that we owned, but we take up 2 that they made into 1.
And warehouses are used for your stock? Is that what you're doing, or just your office as
Just
well?
our office. We actually run our stock out of a 3PL now, just for like less work, like staff, really.
Space, yeah.
Yes, I want to get onto the stuff thing. So, like, how many people you got working for you guys now?
There's about 7 of us that work full time.
Is that in the fashion brand or
that's the fashion brand?
Right.
Yeah. Or one of them kind of, I guess, is an assistant to us so she might do a few different bits and bobs for us. She might do podcasty stuff or whatever. So, but just in the fashion brand, there's 6.5.
In the fashion brand, but what about everything else? Like overall?
Well, then
podcast, everything else.
All those teams are kind of like external.
Because the SCA, we are with SCA.
Are you with SCA? So
they pay.
You're on Listener.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just so people know, so what SCA do? They'll produce it for you. They'll actually find the guests. Do you have guests? Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So they'll find a guest. They'll produce it for you. They'll cut it up. They edit it, and then they'll distribute it for you. And then they'll also find the advertisers.
Exactly.
And then you do a profit share or a revenue share type deal. Yeah.
And then we're also on the radio, which is under SCA as well, on the Hit Network.
So you guys got a radio show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Up in you're on Hit, are you?
Nationwide.
Nationally.
Oh, cool. That's
Just
awesome.
Friday, Saturday night.
So is it actually pre-recorded or are you actually on?
Pre-record.
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 I'm not spending my Saturday night at the radio.
That's weird.
We're busy
way.
So you're not doing country and western or something like that, eh? What are you doing?
It's just kind of like a lot of pop.
It's just like top 40 stuff. We don't actually choose the music, which I really feel like we need to preface that because people are like,
Is that your song?
We don't like Taylor Swift that much.
my Korean cleaner, I've got a cleaner, his name's Josh, and he's this lovely Korean man with 3 kids, and he came to my house the other day and he's like, oh, Lucy, I heard you on the radio the other night. And I was like, thanks, Josh. He goes, loved the music you chose. And I was like, I don't choose the music, Josh, but thanks anyway.
Because that's with SCA as well, that radio station. So it's important to support your podcast with some other form of media. Like that really helps.
Oh, they're great. Like there's we do a whole break called like the podcast replay and they put it in like the little, you know, how they have that crazy voiceover that's like, Lucy and Nikki. We just thought it was so incredible when we started doing the radio. We were just like, wow, what a highly, highly produced medium.
They know what they're doing.
So many
It's just
sounds
so many
and
bing bong. It's very overstimulating to be honest. But it's a vibe. It's good practice.
So when you say they're external, like there's teams.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
But you don't have to manage your teams, which is great.
No,
we don't manage
just work
them,
like
but we work
collaborative.
very closely with them.
Yeah.
Like our producer for our podcast, we speak to at least once a day. We kind of have so many different things that we speak to the radio team probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
We talk to our manager, Claire, and
that's
every second
consistently
day.
the same team. So it's a great support.
So does that feed that sort of bopping around the joint? Like 1 minute you're doing something in your fashion brand, next minute you're doing something with your wine product, next minute you're doing something with the radio, next minute you're trying to produce for the podcast. Does that fit well into your ADHD?
No, not at all. It's really I get really overstimmed.
Yeah, totally.
And I kind of have now. We've actually because we've been doing it now for many years, so we've kind of only
What are you, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we've only just kind of nailed the balance of like on this day we have a Jagger and Stone day, and no offense to any of our other projects, but we don't talk to you on those days. Like don't try and book a meeting.
Oh, okay.
Don't try and do this unless it's like really important, just because otherwise we just don't end up ever getting any actual work done. All we do, and because we record radio and podcasting a week, we're kind of recording for like two big days where we are barely even on our phones to do any emails or anything. So
you chunk out 10 pods on an over a 2 day period?
So we do 2 a week. So we only record 2 back to back.
Okay. You're not chunking a whole heap out.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll do that every Tuesday, and then the radio we'll do every Thursday. So it's kind of like there's half a day here and there gone.
And how do you feel about that? Because I've been through that process with SCA actually many, many years ago. But how do you feel about that process, given that it sort of determines, like if you just feel like going down to Byron Bay for the week, you can't. It's sort of like you're pretty much running your calendar to someone else's calendar, or your calendar to your listener's calendar. How do you manage your life around that? One benefit with SCA
that we've found is like, because we do travel a lot, but they have offices in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Gold Coast. So it is kind of flexible in that sense, because you can kind of just plug in from anywhere and do your show, which has been great. But if we have to go away, we just know, and we just honestly bang out a lot of pre-recording at once.
Yeah, but like if you're trying to get married, for example, which is more recently, you've got to sort of think about.
Yeah, we did a lot of big recording days.
When are we going to be available?
That. Yeah.
A lot of pre-planning. But it sounds like more complicated than it is. It's just kind of like any job really. Like you have to get your work done before you go and leave anywhere. But one thing that I have noticed because we are, I guess, work for ourselves and we have for ages, and then when you kind of start, especially radio, because it is more to the, time restraints and stuff of the station.
Which, by the way, runs in terms of when radio is on and when radio is off. So, like, you won't be putting much out. You won't be recording in December because we did the
full-time slot in December last year.
You went, but ordinarily your show would not be during the let's call it the off season.
No. Yes.
You might fill in. You might take over someone else's role because they're going on holidays. But but you're always running your agenda or your calendar to the other calendars always. And and you said something interesting. We work for ourselves, but actually, in fact, you're not. I mean, and a lot of people sit out and think, "Oh, wow, how good it would be to work for yourself." But when you work for yourself, you're working to your audience's self. So you're going to work to your listeners and to when your advertisers want to put stuff on your content with alongside your content out to the listeners that they're trying to sell to.
Yeah.
And then when your clothing business, that's probably Christmas time is probably one of your busiest times. So it sounds like you're busy all the time.
Literally. It's funny with the radio because obviously in our contract we have these live fill-in periods, which we actually love doing. Like the live radios, it's so much adrenaline. Like we have a great time.
So what's live fill-in? What's that? What do you mean?
Just like as in on live, like no pre-recording, every night, 5 days a week, like doing it live. So,
that's cool.
Kind of build things out during the week with callers and stuff. But that was straight after Black Friday, which obviously is e-commerce's biggest time of the year. And in the lead up to Christmas. It was during
Black Friday, I'm pretty sure, last year, wasn't it?
So we kind of were like, that's one of those moments where we went, wow, probably shouldn't have taken that on because we were like working the whole day with our Jagger team, then going into the radio at night and still podcasting. So we were like,
we're not very good at time management, as you
we just say yes to a lot.
Yeah, but that's an interesting point, a very interesting point. I think typical entrepreneurs always take too much on. And it's not that bad because, I mean, you'll give yourself an uppercut and say, well, I'm not doing that again. You two probably talk to each other and say, well, we've got to stop taking too much and saying yes to everything.
Yeah.
But actually a typical entrepreneur always does that. When you get through it, you go, well, that wasn't too bad. Like, it wasn't. And then someone will come along and say, look, do you mind doing this? And you go, oh shit, we'll do it. Is that sort of your caper? Like, is that your rhythm?
We like doing everything. That's the challenge as well because we actually, like, I'd happily just do everything. It's super fun. But I think when we find the pressure is mainly when our business at home is struggling and we feel like we're neglecting it because we've got staff and we don't have much middle management. Like the girls all report directly into us. So that's where we were finding a lot of overwhelm was like if we were doing all these other things and then like our staff were like waiting on us for answers or when the business wasn't performing
just
very
bottlenecking.
well.
The proprietor's sort of what I call the proprietor's neck. The proprietor's got to
Yes.
exactly.
You've got to do this work. Nothing will happen unless you do it.
Exactly, or answer these
Sign
questions
off.
or
Yeah.
sign things
Sign
off.
off.
Yeah.
Like that document you've got to sign that you haven't signed.
Exactly. But we're working on that's like an us problem. Do you know what I mean? Like that can be resolved. We just had to kind of get in there. And we're actually already this year seeing a lot of improvements in that. We've restructured the team a bit. We've got another staff member on and stuff. So
Yeah,
we're
and that's a
starting
good
to figure
example.
it out.
Like even with our new staff member coming on, and we're like, that's going to be a big month for the team. So Claire, our manager, I just email her and be like, block out, no travel in these weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, we'd just kind of like let ourselves be available. Whereas now we're like, let's hone in on this because then our future selves will thank us for that, and then we can go do the fun things.
So you're both young, but you're just recently married, and
We're not that young, Mark.
Yeah, no.
You are, relatively speaking. It's a relative young. So I'm looking at double your age. So do you ever think to yourself, yeah, well, I'm not going to always be single. I'm not going to always be without a kid.
Oh yeah.
What's that look like for you in the future? Or is that scary, or you don't give a shit?
I feel like it's scary for sure. Like I guess even just being married, it's like I'm definitely going to have kids eventually. And that it definitely scares me because I'm like, right now our lives are chaos. But honestly, I think you just make it work.
Yeah, if it happens,
Like
it happens.
if it happens, it happens. And you've got a plus one then. So maybe you won't be able to go away 4 times a week, but I'm sure you can just make it work.
Yeah,
I don't like to be too stressed about it.
but that's a pretty. We both don't seem to like you get too overwhelmed by stuff, and if you do, you just roll with it. That's pretty important.
Yeah.
I think, comparatively to, I think we definitely can be stressed, and I can certainly be a diva at times. But I think comparatively to, I think we are kind of still just people that when, not that having a baby is shit, things happen, but like when things happen that maybe you weren't exactly planned for, we just kind of go, oh, well, got to deal with it now.
Well, the baby didn't sleep all night.
Yeah.
And had to go to the hospital
Like,
and wait
we're
for
gonna
3 hours in
take
an
it-
emergency ward because I thought she was
Take it
never
with
going to,
you, you
she wasn't
know?
going to be able to breathe because she had a flu. And I'm turning up for the podcast.
Yeah, like we're going to be the kind of people that end up at the restaurant having a wine with our baby. Like we're not going to be those
We've had a
people
lot of
that-
friends that have had kids recently, and they're like, it is hard. Of course, it's hard. Of course, there's sleepless nights, but it's not like it is what you make of it. If you want to, like, you can also let the baby fit into your life, and like, I don't want any mothers to come for me because I know it's not that easy, but that's the mindset I'm trying to go into it with. Like, obviously, things will change, but I also want the baby to try and fit into my life, and I think we've done a good job of like. We like Lou said, we do work for ourselves. If it ever doesn't work, I'm sure she'll be like, sweet, the kid's been up all night. That's fine, Nick. We can record in the Arvo. It's not going to be like a crazy.
That's an unbelievably good attitude, though. I got 2 more
Hopefully.
questions for you because I'm getting wound up. So I got 2 more questions for you. You know how that works. The producer's always saying, come on.
Yeah.
So I got 2 more questions, even though that's not on the list. The first question is, why do you think your podcast is so popular and banging? Like what is it? What is it? What is it in the content that works so well?
I think in the Australian podcasting space,
Yep.
I think that there are a lot of female duos, but I don't think that there maybe are any that are as unpolished as us.
So it's
Bogan.
We're Bogans.
Bogan. That's it.
And
Like Kath and Kim.
we actually dressed up as Kath and
I
Kim
know. I've
this
seen.
week.
That's what I was going to because I've seen a few of the stuff on your Insta, but a few
Yeah.
few
So I
little
think
posts.
that we're just kind of like very relatable and like.
But is that natural though?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm the biggest oversharer you'll ever meet. Like, legitimately, some of the things that I've said on that podcast, Mark, I hope you don't ever listen because you're a man, but like huge oversharer. And we just have got a very genuine friendship, which I think people can relate to, or they like.
Like sometimes we forget the things we say in the pod because we'll just go off on a tangent
Completely
and banter
unfiltered
together like the friends we are. Like even when we're not recording or we're not at work, we still like we do not run out of shit to talk about. Like
We've been talking about the same thing for 15 years.
Like the other
honestly.
day, my husband was in the background and Luce and I like just like on the phone to each other for ages, and he's like, "Are you still on the phone, babe?" He's like, "How? What are you guys talking about now?" And I
We
go,
were actually talking about
Donatella Versace's facelift.
But we just, because we just like talking to each other, I think people really feel maybe that.
Yeah. They feel like it's easy listening. You feel like you could be getting ready with your friends. It's kind of like, just feels, yeah.
We don't preach because we don't really have like really strong opinions about things. So it's not like we're there, you know. You know, some podcasts talk a lot about like, even if it is a pop culture one, they might have really strong views on certain things. We kind of just a little bit more lighthearted than that, and I don't feel like there's many people doing that. Maybe is probably why it's been popular.
Our producer, male, mid-20s, has a question. He specifically asked me to ask you what, and you guys will have an opinion, and also your audience probably feed you back on stuff. What do young men in his genre tend to do wrong when it comes to dating?
Oh, I know. Yeah. The married one knows.
What do you know?
They're all swing, no ding.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
They talk so
big
much
on the
shit.
blower.
Shit talkers.
Shit talk.
All show, no go.
Yes,
Also,
exactly.
Okay, I got a quick
Also,
example.
no
I'm
dig.
going to tell him. Well, he's listening. Don't worry about that. And this is recorded, and we will bring this up in our next group meeting in the office
Yes,
here.
you give him a serving, Mark.
We want to hear some
No,
feedback.
they're all full of shit, for lack of a better word. Like, so they just, a guy even like keeps messaging me, we need to catch up. And I'm like, yeah, I'm home on Wednesday and Thursday. They are my free
Book.
days. Book in. I'm very busy. I'm away on Monday, Tuesday. I'm away the rest of the week. Oh, just completely bypasses making a plan. Then I walk past him and I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, we really need to catch up for a drink. And I'm like,
You're like Wednesday,
I told
Thursday,
you I'm
bro.
free on Wednesday or Thursday.
All
You
swing, no
absolute
dig.
faker.
But then reply to every story like, oh, hot babe. And it's like, just take me out.
Yeah.
Don't want a pen pal.
And other
Pen
dating,
pal, yeah.
Oh, the amount of pen pals, the amount of talking stages that I had, I don't do them anymore. I have like strictly no talking phases.
Lucy just calls them out now.
I do. I literally go, a guy followed and unfollowed me the other day, and I go, did you just follow and unfollow me? You
Freak.
loser. Like,
What are you doing looking at your page, seeing who's followed and unfollowed you?
I
came
only
up.
noticed because it must have like come up in my thing because we've got mutuals.
Yeah.
So I could see that he followed me and I was like, oh, who's this cute boy? Then all of a sudden I looked again like a day later and he'd unfollowed.
His girlfriend probably said to him, why are you following me?
No, he's single.
Are you single?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
no excuse.
But I just, all swing no ding is a good one. There's a million other things that they're doing wrong, but that's definitely one of
And
them.
Mike, and this question is my question. I always get fascinated with people when they come up with a brand name, Jagger and Stone. Or is it Jagger or Jagger and Stone?
Jagger and Stone.
As in Mick Jagger.
Well, yes.
Well-
But
funny
spelled
story.
differently.
Well, we had to spell it differently because we got sued by his people.
Really?
No,
You shit me. No.
We got our,
Our trademark got
contested.
revoked, and so we went to court.
Wow. Well, so it was spelled as
It
in
was
Mick Jagger.
Jagger
Yeah, double
and
G.
Stone.
Yeah.
And then basically our second ever collection that we released, we on our email get this letter because like trademarks are taking such a long time to come through. It took like about 9 months or whatever. So IP Australia obviously approved
Lucky
it.
we checked our emails back then.
Lucky I always have, hey?
Admin.
Literally. And
Is it fair to say, just before you answer the question, it'd be fair to say you cut, she sews.
What does that mean?
You go through and cut up the cloth and she just stands behind it to make sure it's all stitched up.
no.
Not really. I just really am bad on emails, but like
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I do a lot of other things that are
Yeah.
like that run the business in certain ways, but I just really don't like my emails.
I don't blame you. So
Yeah, they suck. Let's be honest. So then
I'm great in a
when it
spreadsheet.
went out to like when it was advertised, obviously someone contested it, and so we were kind of like, oh, I thought we had a chance, and we went to court, didn't win.
You know,
They lost.
ironically, it had nothing to do with
It had
Mick
nothing
Jagger.
to do
no,
with
because I was
Mick
going to say,
Jagger.
what did it have something to do with? Like, how did you pick those two words? Like,
Well, Jagger is like Lucy, like as in like the more Jagger lightning bolt, like crazy energy, and then I was the stone, like the more
Grounded.
oh,
grounded.
really?
Yeah.
So yeah, that makes sense. So it's sort of yin and yang type deal.
Pretty
Exactly.
much, yeah.
And it just sounded cool.
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
And something we didn't even know at the time, but we can add to it to give it more gusto.
Oh, yeah.
Is I'm Lucy Jackson, J-A, Jagger,
Now we're
and Nikki's
reaching.
Nikki Westcott Stone, S-T Stone.
Are you
We're gonna
following
run with
that? Someone commented on something recently, and we were
Now
like,
we're gonna roll
let's
with
take
it.
that.
No. But actually, that's you never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
That's him.
And by the way, it's always about storytelling.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I think you guys are experts at it. And I've really enjoyed myself today. It's been a great convo. Thanks very much,
Thanks,
ladies.
Mark.
Thanks so much for
That was
having
good.
us.
Thanks for having us.